Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tier 6 Skirmishes with W-UNI. Today we have 3 regular battles and 2 battles against some top clans. We'll start with the regular battles, and we're going to start against EDLM, and this is Corellia. We're going to start playing to the north with our scout spotting kind of mid-north. And I'm going to fast forward it. You don't need to see us getting into position. This is a fairly standard strat for this map. Sometimes people will go low, sometimes people will go high. The alternate strat is to go take the hill. I like taking the hill too, but in this case we just decided to go over here. The MT-25 gets spotted coming to see us, and in the process 2 or 3 of our tanks get spotted here besides our light tank. And because of that, and because we didn't put any damage on him, after we drop our spots, I'm going to tell everybody to turn around and head back to our base. I don't want to get caught out. They have 2 light tanks in the Cromwell, and it takes an awful long time to get back up that hill, get into our base. So we head back right away. We very easily could have continued pushing along that line. It's a good line to push down. It's easier actually to push down that line than to push towards their base from the hill. But in this case, I just thought that we had too many tanks spotted, and I didn't want them to come around and get behind us. So we head back. Our Type 64 stays in the middle just to make sure that they don't do anything silly. And we get back, and we're not seeing anything, so they didn't come rushing back. We'll take up positions for a minute here, and then I kind of lose my patience. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Apparently they didn't come this way. So since they saw us going the other way, the MT-25 is still trying to find us over there. We're going to push down over here towards the hill. So notice we have 1 tank trailing, so we're going to wait for that tank before we actually push through. We want to go together. Kind of really didn't expect to find them on the hill here. I expected to find them camping. And while we're going, the Type 64 decides to go exploring. Unfortunate for him, we were all here, and we finish him off. Before we continue on, we want to check to make sure they're not going to be behind us on the hill. So we start pushing up the hill here, and right away we find tanks. So now we have 3 of our guys on one side of the hill and 2 on the other. And we're just going to push into it. You see I miss a shot there. And I take my punishment for pushing up this hill. We don't have good gun depression in the 30-45. And finish him off. The other tank got finished off. Now we're up 3-0. We got 1 more tank up here with us. And we finish him off pretty quick. So that leaves us with 3 tanks. The Cromwell, the T-150, MT-25. And the call here was to leave a couple snipers here on the hill and everybody else push around into them. You see me, I start going down to be one of the ones pushing, but I was probably the most beat up of the bunch, so changed my mind here, and I'm not going to go down. And because of that, actually, Lightspar ends up being down there all by himself, and he's facing our Cromwell. We do make the call, and everybody else eventually goes to support. Actually, I think Coffee and Touchy drop down the front side. Mungs goes down to be with Lightspar, and okay, Touchy goes back to I don't know. I got so confused. Everybody was kind of not doing quite what I wanted. Try to drop the RD on the T-150. It completely, totally misses. But I mean, we're way up on tanks, so I'm not too worried about it at this point. You see, I don't have any shots on anything, so I'm going to get off the hill. While I'm getting off the hill, mini dump spots the MT-25. I don't really want to get up there and mix it up because I'm so low health, so I'm going to try to help him out. And pretty much I do nothing but a lot of missing here. Mini does a good job. The other guys are kind of holding off on the Cromwell. The T-150 is kind of keeping them from pushing. and Coffee got around on them, so they were able to finish off the Cromwell. The MT-25 had already been finished off, and it just leaves the T-150, which we finish off no problem. So that wasn't a bad idea on their part. I think we kind of surprised them at the hill. They were really still looking for us along the other side. And here we have Abby. This is against LPK. And of note in this one, they have a Skoda autoloader and a Jackson TD. Those are things that we need to be careful of when we finally do find them and start pushing them. And we're going to play a pretty standard play here. Go the 1-2 line. We spot their MX-12T pretty much off the bat. And Tank there in his light tank. He's going to go check. I think he's going to go check the 9-0 line. At this point, I don't want to be pushed. I don't want to overcommit and not be able to get back. And we still have him to get resets. Everybody else is pretty committed. It takes a long time to get back. So if they had pushed, because we hadn't seen the whole team, if they had pushed the 8-9 at this point, we were going to have a lot of trouble getting back. We were just going to hope and pray for resets from the type. In this case, it works out in our favor. We still haven't seen them. We're a little hesitant to poke the hill. Once we start pushing, we do spot out their 12T. And focus fire pretty much eliminates him pretty quick. Now we spot a couple of their guys on the other side. And instead of poking the hill, I wanted us to go around. Meanwhile, Tank is checking the A9 line to make sure nobody's circling through, and he finds the VK. So we've got a couple of us now, a couple of snipers, a couple poking the hill, and a couple trying to get around on the low side. And the part about this that doesn't work from my point of view, I have Lightspark coming to help me now, and I have Cromwell going to the Abbey, is that VK very shortly ends up in a position where he can get shots on us out here on the edge. Now, this is the right place to push them from, but not when they have that sniper where you see the VK. You'll see both me and Lightspark start taking shots from him. Yeah, see, he shoots at Lightspark there. I see him, I try to take a shot at him, I shoot Lightspark instead. And because we were looking the other way, the other two are shooting at us. Well, we got to look at something, so we'll look correctly in front of us. Easier shot. And boy, do I take a beating there. And I just tuck up here, and I'm going to hide for a bit. They keep poking and trying to shoot me. I get a couple lucky bounces. I'm still alive with 11 hit points, which is, from their point of view, not a good thing. We're up by 3 tanks at this point. Tank got that VK off the sniper hill there, so he's not able to shoot us. And I'm not poking. Everybody else has way more health than me, so I'm just waiting my turn here. That VK finishes off Tank. He had a tough time with his computer, I think. He normally would have been able to handle that on his own. Even in a light tank, he's a good enough player that he could have handled that. We had Wasp and the Cromwell that was going to help him. Now we have Mungs on the cap. He's a one-shot. We have me that's a one-shot. Coffee tries to be the hero there. He gets finished off by the Jackson. Minnie's going to go try to get shots on the Jackson from up high. And I was thinking about going from down low, but that VK showed up. I was already looking his way, which was amazing. So I got a shot in first. That makes him a one-shot. And I got a full health Wasp and a Cromwell coming up behind. So these guys really just need to hold out until he gets in the game. Minnie trades shots with the Jackson. And Mungs is still on cap, behaving himself. He doesn't want to push into that or let them see him. And with that full health Cromwell coming in, see Minnie receives another shot. So we had a 2-shot Jackson and 1-shot VK. And 2 of our tanks are one-shots. Minnie gets a shot into Jackson, leaving 2 1-shots left. And Wasp is just going to go in and miss his first shot, but finishes off the VK. Nice slide move there. Now he's just got to figure out how to get to that Jackson, who's in a really good position. Meanwhile, Mungs is still on the cap, so even if he can't finish off the Jackson, he knows we're gonna win the game. And he gets in a position where Mungs can finish him off with 1 shot. Now we have Ghost Town against Dorek. The first thing we note is that they have 4 Cromwells, so they are much, much faster than us. So whatever we do, we can't overcommit here. Those Cromwells could get around us and take the base before we could get back. Although it's a very difficult base to get back. We also don't want them to get behind us and get to the sniper left behind us. So we're going to start off, we're going to send Slappy to the middle to do some spotting for us. I'm going to send us over here to try to get shots if they went to the middle. Slappy's very aggressive. They don't have a light tank, so he feels free to be aggressive like that. We don't see anything right off the bat. My big concern as a caller right now is if those Cromwells went down the 6-7 line just right along the city. In this case, we spot out a couple of them over there, so the Cromwells didn't go that way. I was going to send Slappy off to that 6-7 line, but he tells me he was receiving or being shot at from the sniper's loft. So at least 2 tanks were shooting at him from the sniper loft. So that accounts for most of their tanks. Not all of them, so it's still a concern, but they aren't going to get behind us with a big force. Mini Dump and Coffee pushed up without instruction. I think Mini went first. Coffee followed him to support him. Works out okay. When I see that, I tell everybody else to push up. I think Coffee was getting shot from the sniper loft there. And then he receives a couple shots and he's getting pushed by this Cromwell. We can't let him die, so we focus him, and we have all sorts of tanks behind us, so we save Coffee here. Touchy takes a shot from the sniper loft. They do their RD at us. I get RD'd and shot from the sniper loft. Trying to get safe here. Trying to get safe and get shots on the spotted guy in the loft. Meanwhile, there's a Cromwell in the city that T-37 is trying to fight, and I think Coffee's sniping him as well. And we have those 2 tanks behind the hill that we can't really attack because of these snipers. Me and Touchy are blind shooting the sniper loft. Feel it's safe enough to move up on these Cromwells. And Mini Dump mentions, why don't we RD these guys? So okay, great idea. So we try to drop our RD on them. And in a rare for me successful RD strike here, these guys get completely eliminated. That helps a lot. So now we're up, instead of being up by 1 tank, we're up by 3 tanks. We catch the guy in the sniper loft, able to shoot him. He loses most of his health. They're shooting the P-43 from the middle. Meanwhile, Lightspire made his way to the middle, and he's facing off against the VK. I don't know who the heck's shooting at the Cromwell, but shortly the Cromwell dies. We're still blind shooting the loft. Lightspire's doing fine on his own with that VK. Touchy took out the Cromwell. And at this point, we're just going to push these guys in the loft. We have a couple snipers. We have a couple guys pushing. And you're going to see me use auto aim here. The reason I'm going to use auto aim, there's very little gun depression on a 3485. So as I poke this hill, I want my gun to be on him as soon as it can be. So I auto aim and lose the target. But I auto aim again, and as soon as I get in a position I can shoot him, the auto aim poke punches up, so boom, and I'm able to get off the shot. And luckily I bounced 2 shots there, and I'm ready and poke and shoot. And the auto aim in a situation like this works wonders, because as soon as you're able to get that shot, that auto aim is there. And now we're on to Airfield against GOONZ. So we've been having a good night at this point. We're a little scared of GOONZ, and we don't know what to make of their lineup. Excalibur, a Hellcat, a KV-2, a light tank, and a couple Cromwells. I really have no idea what their strat would be, but I would suspect that the 2 TDs would camp. And we're going to send the light tank to the middle. Everybody else go play the heavy tank ridge like we normally would. And I click out the spots where I suspect that the TDs would be. Remind everybody they have those 2 TDs, so be careful. And for some reason, Mini Dump had a feeling. I don't know. He stayed back. He told me he was going to. I said, okay, we'll let you stay back. And against teams like this, it's not actually a bad idea. They kind of do their own thing. They don't really know the quote-unquote meta, and they split up a lot because they're really overconfident of their own individual skills. So they don't necessarily call. They just kind of go do their own thing. In this case, Slappy finds the Cromwell in the Type 64, and Minnie in the back is able to help him out a little bit with that. Me and Lightspar get on this loft over here, and we're able to help a little bit as well. You see we spot the STRV. Try to put some shots into him. So they have 3 on the hill, 1 right around. And it would just something that's typical of fighting against these top-ranked guys. They'll have such good crews. Every time they shoot you, they break something. And that Type 64 got away from me, but he didn't get away. I backed into the Hellcat shot and then the Excalibur shot, so I take a beating here. But now we pretty much know where almost all their tanks are. Now we haven't spotted the KV-2 yet. Once I drop my spot, this Excalibur is still shootable. Put a couple into him. He shoots back and misses because I got spotted. And we're up by 3 tanks, so we're in good shape here. I asked for them to circle around. I don't want to push straight into the Hellcat. So I asked for them to push around and get these guys from the back. Meanwhile, Slappy's still trying to find everybody. The Excalibur is staying smart. He's staying below the rock so we can't shoot him. And the KV-2 gets spotted, and he's just sitting there waiting to be shot. Mini Dump tries to drop the RD on the KV-2. We pretty much missed, but he gets lit again, and we start shooting him again. Our 3 tanks spot out the Hellcat. KV-2 ducks behind a rock, so we can't shoot him anymore. I poke out a little further, and you see I was going to try to shoot the Hellcat, but this Cromwell's coming full speed, so we put a couple into him. I missed one. Somebody else shot him. Now the Hellcat can be shot. And what am I in a Cromwell? I'm missing all these shots. Cromwell can put out a lot of shots, but it's not the most accurate gun in the world, especially at range. We're still up by 3 tanks, but they only have 2 left, the KV-2 and that Hellcat. Shoot the buildings down, get them out of the way, and then shoot the bad guys. And that was that against GOONZ. It felt good. The guys were really excited with that win. And then we played a game the other night. This is a kind of a mixed us and W-UNI 2. I was calling, but I get a big help out from Tank 943 here. And we look at the lineup. It's kind of another weird lineup with the heavy tank number 6, the KV-2, and the 3 Cromwells. We don't want to get too far away from the base again because all those Cromwells were too heavy to get back. So we're just kind of going to set up a camp. We're going to set up shots from 3 different directions. And my original positions, we modified them a little bit, or Tank modified them a little bit. The ones I was going to have out on the sniper's loft, we pulled back. And we put 2 out on the peninsula. We put me and Tank in the back, kind of below the crest here. And we have those 2 guys you see there that are tucked behind. So wherever they shoot us from, or come from, we're going to be able to get guns on them. And we're going to send the Type up north just to make sure we don't get flanked from the north. But even if we do, we have guns. Everybody can shoot those guns coming from the north. Now this is Senpai, and currently when we played them, they were ranked like number 6 or 7. So we're a little nervous. Again, we don't know what their strat's going to be. One of the Cromwells comes up here to spot us, kind of doing his own thing. Seems unsupported right now. Relying on his personal player skill. Tank's wondering if our guys in the Peninsula have shots on the Cromwell. And then the KV-2 just pushes right up into me and Tank. Heavy Tank number 6 is behind him, but can't get shots on anybody because he's right behind him. So we take out the KV-2 Mahal player. And we still have shots on this HC number 6 that's pushing in. And now Cromwell gets spotted up north. We still have the Cromwell in the south with us. We've got the... I'm going to try to drop RD on him. He disappears so I don't drop it. In this case it's an airstrike, but notice they also have a Cromwell, another Cromwell south. So we've got 4 tanks south and 1 tank north right now that we know of. That Cromwell went dark. Turns out he's actually circling around to team up with the other guys up north. And the north gets lit again, and I try to drop an airstrike. I completely fail and actually drop it on the hill. And we know there's an SCRV up there, there's a Cromwell up there. And any minute now, the tank says we should push on these guys here in the south. And we go along with it. And I'm having a little trouble driving. Don't laugh at me too much. Got a one-shot 30-45. Tank tells them to push on that guy first. Now we've definitely got numbers here, so we send everybody in. Tank sniping the heavy tank. He goes down. We just have the Cromwell to worry about. And here they come roaring down from the north. I missed a shot on the first one. Get a shot on the second one. Everybody in the south is dead, and we just have these 3 that are coming roaring down. They circle off the side to try to get safe. He gets shot enough times that I'm able to finish him off. The other Cromwell thinks he's safe, so he's going to try to come over here and help out. Finish off the one. Here goes the other. He's the last one I left anyways. We finished off the other one already. And this was also very exciting to finish this one off against a top 10, at the time, a top 10 team. It feels good when you're beating some of those top teams, even if you look at them and they didn't have much of a strat to go with, or the metal tanks either.
I appreciate all the views I get. I love doing this. I love tier 6 skirmishes. It's what I got into the game for. Watching the professionals play the 7v7 format with the strategy and the tactics involved. It can depend on your teammates, hopefully, and sometimes even the enemy's predictable. I love sharing it with you guys. I hope that my insights have helped your game somewhat, or helped your strategies or your tactics. I hope it doesn't help you against us, but I hope it helps you overall. And again, thank you for watching, and see you on the battlefield.